Haters pipe down, show niggas talking down. So when West got it, so soda. Get your mind on your shit, but like the chair. I soda. H time, bout to go swing wild when we flip in it down. Haters pipe down, show niggas talking down. So when West got it, so soda. Get your mind on your shit, but like the chair. I soda. H time, bout to go swing wild when we flip. Know I'm talking about. One West in this bitch. Meet you boots and break and shades like nigga, who is this? 144 set apart, make room, we in this bitch. Players get chose, don't get mad, my nigga, check your bitch. Cross the line like a Dennis, boy, I go off in your shit. My tribe, check a hoe, coldest Eskimo, you mountain shit. I'm UGK, so UPK, third coast, represent. So slow line and banging, swinging counters when I been. Hater block is on, catch me one deep behind 10. Boy, I'm shocking, rocking, bitches knocking, coming down your wind. Haters coming at blocking, when these chickens roosting behind the field. I'm just body rocking, chucking deuce, giving that to my kid. Coming to die, haters pipe down, show niggas talking down. So when West got it, so soda. Get your mind on your shit, but like the chair. I soda. H time, bout to go swing wild when we flip and it die. Haters pipe down, show niggas talking down. So when West got it, so soda. Get your mind on your shit, but like the chair. I soda. H time, bout to go swing wild when we flip. A hater is a pig and a pippin trying to dig in. Imagine me covered in field trying to fit in. Nigga, please, a royalty, prodigal son from the streets. Over here, real G's, eat a mic, bend the knees, chicken steady bopping. When we mobbing, blocking like they robbing. If she Bobby, righteous modest, I just might just see what's popping. It's the tape, I know Poppy, boss, hogging when I'm flossing. Brotherhood's a whipping, touch your prince to the power, won't be a problem. Tribe ties, how we rocking, kingdom coming, ain't no stopping. Coming down like a chair, swinging no when it's dropping. Black Spanish, nigga, Americans, baby boy, how we locking. One West got it, ain't gon' say the more I'm done. Talking, coming down, haters pipe down, show niggas talking down. So when West got it, so soda. Get your mind on your shit, but like the chair. I soda. H time, bout to go swing wild when we flip and it die. Haters pipe down, show niggas talking down. So when West got it, so soda. Get your mind on your shit, but like the chair. I soda. H time, bout to go swing wild when we flip.
All right. Clap it up. All right. It's the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Started out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under commanding General YAHANNA. It is Monday, the history breakdown class, where we break it down line upon line, precept upon precept, here a little, there a little, backing up external references with internally what is in the Bible. We will be wrapping up Genesis 47 today, picking up on where we left off last week. Last week. So the most important thing that you got to understand, which is what is not only so important about this chapter, but also how pivotal to the point to where it applies today, right? And where we are in the world and what's going on, because famine is upon us, right? So question will offsides out, what do you mean by famine, right? Well, I'm gonna pose the question to you, like what takes place in a famine from what we know thus far, from what we've gone over, and to your knowledge, what take place, what transpires during a famine?
Starvation and lack of resources.
All right, so Paul, what you got?
I was gonna say that.
Yeah, grab the mic so I can hear you online.
I was gonna say that a lack of resources and the family can also be used for a lack of hearing the word of the Most High.
Right. Okay. So the consensus between both of y'all is lack of resources, right? So there should be a red flag to everyone now, right? that there is a lack of resources. The reason how you know that there is a lack of resources is because of the amount of inflation that's in the economy, right? The only time when they inflate the cost of a dollar, you understand, is when they don't have the bottom to back it, right? So you just keep pumping money into the economy with nothing to back it. The value of the dollar goes down and the cost for everything goes up, right? So what's going to eventually happen is you keep inflating. What happens if you keep pumping up a tire? It's going to explode. You know what I'm saying? Because that's why you have a tire pressure gauge. A tire pressure gauge is for two reasons. A, to let you know when the tire pressure is low, but it's also to let you know if it's too high, right? And that's where we are in the United States. The tire pressure is extremely too high. And at any moment, this pressure will blow this thing, right? So what type of pressure am I talking about? Okay, we talking about cultural pressure, right? So of course you got our oppressor oppressing us. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is that he's trying to hide the oppression that's about to come for him. You understand? What's the next thing that's about to explode? Economic, you know what I'm saying? Pressure. That's about to explode. What's another thing that's about to explode? Food, right? And you can see it now. Like, it's so many videos coming out about the quality of food in America that, you know, they feeding people like stuff that they making in labs. You understand? You know, I'm gonna say this for YouTube purposes. It has been reported. It's not necessarily a fact, but it has been reported that there have been human protein that is being added to meat in certain franchises. You know what I'm saying? So in a time like this, like when you go get a pineapple or a banana and you able to bend that thing completely all the way from horizontal down 90 degrees and it don't snap, you know what I'm saying, or avocado, should let you know that it's not real food. You know what I'm saying? So this is where we are. We are in a famine. They're just distracting you with glitter and lights and smoke and mirrors. You know what I'm saying? All of this streaming and everybody's social media famous. You know what I'm saying? But nobody has quality of life. I mean, you can know that by anytime. I promise you, anytime you see the water and wastewater people come and replace a storm drain or a water main line, when you see them pull that pipe up, just take a look at it. It's corrosion, rust, calcium, all types of toxic mold, all of that stuff being pumped in that water supply. And anything that the pharmaceutical company that they don't use and they make waste of and that they dump, that's also pumped into the water supply. You understand? And they're giving you this. It's because we're in a famine. You understand? So the next question is, well, Officer Tazadak, I mean, you giving us a lot of bad news. I mean, what good news do we have in the famine? So the next question is how do we prepare for a famine? Right? So first thing, you understand, based off of what we've gone through in this story, you got to be mentally prepared before the situation even comes. You understand? You got to go through your own personal hell to deal with hell. You understand? When it really hits the fan, for the most part, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans will be fine. You want to know why? Because we've lived in a state of famine in our entire lives. We were raised in a state of famine, making something out of nothing. You understand? It's the the thing. It goes in and out. Like if you tap it, not, you know what I'm saying, it'll go away. Like tap it, tap the mic. Okay, all right, cool. Cut one on and tap it. Hold on, cut it down in the back of it right here. The second one. Cut the second one down. It's the second one. Yeah. All right, cool. Bet. That's perfect. All right. So the first, like I said, the first thing that you have to prepare for is mentally, right? And how do you do that? By keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, right? In the story of Joseph, right? Joseph was given a vision, right, of things to come, right? Now his vision is that all of his brothers and his father would end up bowing down to him, right? He didn't say, hey, I'm going to have a dream tonight and I'm going to have a dream of all y'all bowing down to me. The Lord gave him that vision, right? Now, he didn't know what it meant at the time, you understand? But it was revealed later. But for him to get to that point, he had to go through hell to be mentally prepared for the 7 years of hell that the nation was going to experience and how to prepare. So the only way someone can prepare for hell to come is they have to have survived hell, right? Somebody give me Psalms chapter 1. Somebody give me Psalms chapter 1. You know what I'm saying? Everybody know this is my favorite scripture. Psalms 1 is my favorite scripture. Like if you as a man or a woman are trying to figure out, you know, your path, and if you're off the path, this is the best scripture for you. And you got to go ahead and read it.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 1, verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly.
Man, hold on, man. That thing loud. Turn the maybe on the actual physical monitor, that one. Yeah, turn it down in the front. Do mic check, Sawadia. Just say mic check.
Mic check.
Do one more time.
Mic check.
Turn it up a little bit more on your end. Turn it up. Say mic check one more time.
Mic check.
There we go. Perfect. All right, go ahead. Start over one more time for me.
Verse 1. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly.
All right. So, in order to prepare for a famine, right, the first thing that you got to do is not take counsel from the ungodly, right? Because the way that they prepare, they steal, kill, and destroy, you understand, from others to make sure that them and their family are good. So if you go to them and ask, hey, bro, you know, if some stuff pop off, bro, like how you and your family, bro, like how y'all gonna get prepared? They're gonna tell you wicked means about going and go get it. You understand? You feel me? Like, and like I always tell people, like, how can a single person give you advice on marriage? You know what I'm saying? How can someone that's never been married, you know what I'm saying, or someone that's divorced give you advice on how to stay married? You know what I'm saying? So you can't take counsel from the ungodly. That's the first step in preparation for a family. All right? Keep reading.
Nor standeth in the way of sinners.
You understand? Nor can you hang around people that are not keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, right? I always tell people all the time, if you're trying to kick a habit, why would you be in the habitat? You know what I'm saying? If you're a drunk, why would you go to a bar? You understand? If you trying to kick Mary Jane, why would you be around your partners that's pre-gaming before they go out? Because what's going to happen is you're going to go over there and they pass in the circle, you know what I'm saying, in the cipher, you know what I'm saying, matching, you feel me? It's going to be one day you're going to come over there after having a hard day, you done got fired, your baby mama then put you on child support and took the kids. You know what I'm saying? Your mama died, your daddy died, your dog died, and be like, man, that's a hard day. Man, hit that. And you gonna think about it for a second. What's gonna happen? You gonna hit it. You know what I'm saying? Like that's Satan is like Steve Urkel to Laura. You know what I'm saying? You know how Steve Urkel got Laura? He kept asking her every day, all day, let me take you out on a date. Every day, all day, he just tested her. Oh, okay. Not today, tomorrow. I'm going to ask you tomorrow. You might feel different tomorrow. You understand? Satan is Steve Urkel. You know what I'm saying? And one of them days, when Laura was feeling down, she didn't see Steve. She saw Stefan Urkel. You know what I'm saying? And that's what your demon is going to look like to you on that day because you surrounding yourself in a congregation of sinners. You understand? When you around a congregation of sinners, you're not concentrating on building. You're concentrated on distractions, on folly, or on what I call false calories. You know what I'm saying? Things that seem like they're fulfilling, but they're really giving you cavities. It may be sweet to the taste, but it's destroying your teeth. You understand? Keep reading.
Nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful.
Right? Nor can you be around someone that's constantly complaining. You understand? Nor can you be around someone that's always talking about someone. You feel me? Because if people are constantly talking, people are constantly gossiping, guess what? Nothing is getting done. Birds of a feather, what? Flock together. Keep reading.
Verse 2. But his delight is in the law of the Lord.
Say that one more time.
But his delight is in the law of the Lord.
Now, you got to understand this, right? Joseph went through hell, right? We saw him get kidnapped. Did he curse God? At any point, did he curse God? Did he say, like, you know, Father, why hast thou forsaken me? Okay, what about when he got sold into slavery? Did he curse God or complain to God? Okay. What about when he was falsely accused of rape and thrown in jail? Did he curse God or complain to God? You understand? Because his delight was in the Lord, because in all of those bad situations, what was the one consistent thing that happened throughout all those situations? That's a question. When he was kidnapped, when he was sold into slavery, and when he was falsely accused of rape and thrown in prison, in all of those situations, what was the consistent thing? I almost said it and you almost gave it away. You gotta say it on the mic, brother.
He still had his life, and the Lord never left him.
He still had his life, and the Lord never left him. Yes, that is a very key point, but it's one other thing. Go ahead.
He was always to a position of power.
Give that brother a hand. You know what I'm saying? In every condition, you understand, the most important part was what you said. He had his life. He never died. You understand? He was always protected, no matter in what amount of danger he was in. I mean, you get kidnapped. Most people that get kidnapped die. They're killed. They don't. It don't matter if the person that they call for ransom from, they give the ransom. The child is, or the person is never returned. They get the money and they kill the person because they know if they give the person back, it's a higher percentage of them going to get caught. You understand? So people that are kidnapped, for one, majority of them die, and if they don't die, they never see their families again because they're sold into slavery and they get sent to some country that they don't know where they are. They don't speak the language, and there's someone's servant that they keep in a box somewhere and pull out for their amusement. You know what I'm saying? But the second part, what Sawadia said is that in every condition that he was put in, he was raised to a position of power. So he knew the Lord was with him and the Lord had him the entire time. You understand? This is what happens when you meditate on the Lord day and night. Keep reading.
And in his law doth he meditate day and night.
Keep reading.
Verse 3. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season.
Now, when was Joseph a boy or a man when he got the vision from the Lord? When he got that dream, was he a boy or was he a man? He was a what? Say it in the mic.
A boy. You know
what I'm saying? He was a boy, right? And how many years did it take for that vision to come to fruition? Anybody remember? It took 18 years. It took 18 years for the point when the Lord gave him a vision to when it actually happened, to when he was elevated to basically right under Pharaoh in Egypt. It took 18 years, and he went through hell to get it. And he went through hell because the world was about to go through hell. You understand? And what's very interesting about it is while he was going through hell, everybody wanted more from him. So what did he do during the time when the world was in hell and they were coming and asking him for help? What did he do? Anybody from the last class? What is every time they came to him? What were the things that he acquired every time the known world came to Egypt for food? Anybody remember? What was the first thing? What was the first thing that he acquired? Go ahead, give it a shot.
Was it more cattle and servants?
Okay, that was the first thing. All right. So when all the money was gone, actually the first thing he got all the gold and all the silver, and all the money was gone. Right. And then they came and was like, well, y'all, you have all the money, right? Okay. What can we give you for currency so that we can have food so that we don't die? He was like, okay, we'll sell your cattle. You understand? They were selling horses and cows that was worth thousands of dollars for loaves of bread. You understand? That was the second thing. What was the third thing that they came up off of that Joseph acquired? What was the third thing? So we got gold, we got cattle. What was the third thing? What was it? The land. You understand? So not only did he acquire all the money in the world, he acquired all the cattle in the world. Then he got all the land that was in the land of Canaan and in Egypt. You understand? So these are the things. This is how it's going to fall. This is how the world is going to fall. The first thing that's going to fall is whatever the currency is. Whatever the dollar is, it's going to fall. Right? And then the only thing that's going to be precious is food. Right? So you're going to sell off whatever cows you have so you can get food. You understand? Or you're going to barter them and trade them, whether it's lamb, sheep, goats, horses, cows, dogs, whatever. You're going to barter the trade so you can feed your family. What does this horse mean to me and my family is starving? You know what I'm saying? What does Bambi mean to me and my family is starving? You know what I'm saying? What does Fido mean to me when my family is starving? Take my King Corso. That's the example that I gave last time. We all know a King Corso, you understand, minimum is $7,000 and $10,000. A dog. you gonna trade that King Corso for some boudin. You understand? Cause your family is starving. You feel me? And you gonna give up your whole kennel for some boudin. You understand? For a whole row of boudin so you can put in the smokehouse so your family can eat for a week. You understand? Then the next thing that he acquired was all of the land. Now, we looked up last class, right? For 40 acres, 40 acres. We're not talking about 100 acres. 40 acres is roughly $750,000 to $1 million. It's 40 acres. Matter of fact, hey Siri, how many acres is Egypt? Egypt is 1,450. That's square kilometers. Siri, how many acres is Egypt? Okay, it's gonna make me do the math. Somebody, give me this conversion real quick. Give me square miles to acres. Hey Siri, how many acres is the land of Egypt? Okay, so it's 387,050 square miles. Convert that to acres. 387,450
Acres.
Mm-hmm.
247,939,200.
Oh, let me see. 387,450. I got it right here. Jeez, yeah, you're right. That's a lot, brother. Let me see. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 247,968,000. All right, so let's divide that by 40 and go to my calculator so we can give you about how much money the land of Egypt is worth. So we said 247,968 0 divided by 40. So the land of Egypt is worth $6,199,200,000 The land. If we just doing it based off of the conversion, right, of 40 acres equaling to $1 million. And that's, it varies if it's city or country, right? Like rural area or city area. That was 40 acres in a rural area was $1 million. So like 40 acres in, let's say, Washington, D.C., like the District of Columbia, that's probably like 750 million. You know what I'm saying? So it varies. So I'm just giving you a ballpark figure. If all of the country was rural land, he just acquired $6 billion worth of assets on top of all of the cattle in the known world, on top of all of the known silver and gold, right? Okay. And what was the last thing that they sold? Get that brother a hand. Right? So the last thing that they sold was themselves. They sold themselves into slavery. You understand? And we're going to read what Joseph did once they sold themselves and their lands. Right? So this is what you need to know as far as the famine that's to come, how everything is going to fall. So the things that you need to be paying attention to is the stock market, the financial market, right? So that's going to be the first thing to go, right? We already dealing with extremely high inflation, right? Once the market crashes, you understand? You know what that means? That means when you go to the bank, or when you try and go to the gas station, when you try and go to the grocery store, your bank card don't work no more, right? So I want you to think the mindset of pandemonium that's going to happen when people find out they don't have no money, that they can't Uber eat. You understand? They can't go to McDonald's, can't go to Taco Bell, can't go to Popeyes, can't go to Fiesta, can't go to H-E-B, can't go to Kroger. They can't buy Pampers and Similac for their baby. They can't go to CVS or Walgreens pharmacy to get medicine for their children. What do you think is going to happen? So, and then on top of that, you didn't kill two birds with one stone. You didn't took away their money and their ability to get food and water. People are going to start murdering one another. They're going to start going in people's homes and robbing them. Now, on top of that, add an EMP and knock the power out. I watched an interview with an old Navy SEAL, and he said within 2 weeks, if you live in an urban population and you don't have means to get to a rural area based off of urban warfare, he said within 2 weeks, 900,000 people in every city population will die from either murder, starvation, or disease in 2 weeks. And then a plague is going to break out because now you got dead bodies everywhere and nobody's getting rid of these dead bodies the proper way. So then you're going to have a plague breakout. He said within 2 weeks, in every major city, 900,000 people will die. Now, those rest of those people, so now the money's gone, right? There's really no source of food. So now they're going to be heading out to rural areas and trying to find people that have farmland. He who has the resources is king. If you have land, you're a king. If you have cattle, you're a king. If you have, so remember I told you, this is going to be the new currency right here. It's going to put a whole new definition on making it rain. You understand? They're going to be like, what would you do for a drop of water? I'm going to just, what you going to do for it? Look at that. It's wet. What you going to do for this water? I like wet too. You going to get wet for some wet? That's what's going to happen. Because you can live longer off of water than food. You can't go more on based off of a medical report. You can't go longer than 4 days without water. You know, you can go a long time without food. You can probably go 7 to 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? 7 days to 2 weeks without food. But without water, 4 days, you die. And that's what it says in the book of Revelations. People will long for death, but it will not find them. Imagine being on that third day and not having no food and no water. You're going to be weak. You're going to be crawling around water. And then like the Lord will send like a random rain and it'll splash some water in your mouth. And then you'll live another 3 days off of that splash of water. You're going to yearn to die, but death would not come near you. That's a famine. And then you come across somebody that got resources, you're going to sell your body to be under their privilege. That is what's coming. And the only way that you can prepare for it is by keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. Because that's not going to have you out here distracted. You're going to always be focused on the task at hand. You should have at least 6 cases of water in your house at all times. You should have some non-perishable food items in your house at all times. You know what I'm saying? A 50-pound sack of beans, a 50-pound sack of rice. You should be ordering you a bag of seeds to plant off of Amazon. So whenever you do get out to a rural area, you know what I'm saying, while you working on your food rations, your beans, your rice, your non-perishable food items, you can plant some seeds into the dirt and grow you some food so you don't die. This is the mindset of Joseph. Because for those 7 years while things were good, he was taxing everything and putting it up. Finish out Psalms 1 for me. You were like a tree planted by the rivers of the water, where its leaf will not wither and die.
That bringeth forth his fruit.
Try the other mic. Let him use the other mic. That's the one that be tripping. Go ahead.
That bringeth forth his fruit in his season.
Mm-hmm.
His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper.
So you got to understand that everything that you're preparing for is never for the moment, right? Like I always use the example of boxing, right? You running all of these miles, you understand? You doing all of this conditioning, all of this calisthenics, all of this training, you understand, on an amateur level for 3 3-minute rounds. You understand? So you're doing all of that. You train for 6 months for 9 minutes. You're training for 6 months for 9 minutes. Think about that. To be perfect for 9 minutes. You train for 6 months for 9 minutes. The Lord says when he comes, what it took them 500 years to build, he's going to destroy in how long? An hour. What it took them 500 years to build in this nation, when the Lord comes, he said he's going to destroy it in an hour, Ak. And the only way that you're going to survive, every day you have to die. You have to prepare yourself every day. Because when it gets bad, you're not going to be able to survive if you don't have a righteous mind state, because it's going to be dog eat dog out there. If you don't have the wisdom of God, you're going to die. That is the only thing that not only saved David, not only saved Joseph, but saved the entire nation of Israel. Because of the sacrifice of one man. So don't say, who am I? I'm just one person. If you're constantly sacrificing for the Lord is going to put you in position to save lives. You understand? Like, when I first came into the truth, I lived in an apartment by myself. You understand? You know how many brothers have come and lived with me? You know how many complete strangers have come and lived with me? The Lord never puts you in position strictly for yourself. He always puts you in a position to help and save others. The resources are never just for you. Never. Whenever an increase happens in your life, best believe there's going to be equal responsibility that's going to rise with that increase. Such is rank in the UPK. You get more rank, you get more responsibility. Trust me. You get a better job, best believe it's something coming that's going to need those funds. Those funds is just not for you, and if you got a family, for you and your family. The Lord might be having you save up all of this so you can take care of 2 or 3 families. For brothers that have land, you think the Lord is giving you all of these acres just for you? Where do you think brothers and sisters is coming when stuff hit the fan? They coming to your land. What you mean? Where you think your family is coming? It's the same thing, like they call it survivor's remorse, right? When someone like hits the lottery or someone goes to the NBA, someone goes to the NFL, you understand? They have remorse because they're the only one that made it out. So they try and help everyone in the hood. And then they get taken advantage of. All their family, all their homeboys calling them, aunties that they ain't never heard of, cousins they ain't never heard of. And guess what? Everybody got a plan for your money. Because one thing that you have to understand is he who wears the crown is the biggest servant. Those resources that are given to you, they're not just for you. Now, don't get it twisted. You're not to be foolish. You got to be responsible with the resources that the Lord gives you, because you cannot help everyone. Salaki, sir. I'm teaching class. Can I call you out the class, sir? Come, Shalom, Christ. So, what you have to understand is whatever is given to you, you have to be a good steward over. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter if you just flipping burgers. You understand? I was a cook. Before I was an executive chef, I was a line cook. And let me tell you my story. My degree is in architecture. You know what I'm saying? I have 12 commercial buildings under my belt, 2 that I've personally designed. You understand? 10 that I worked on. I have innumerable amount of houses that I've designed and constructed. Right? As soon as I came into the truth, got blackballed in my industry. I had to figure out a way to survive. I started working at restaurants. You understand? Was a line cook. From a line cook, worked my way up to become an executive chef. And while I'm doing that, other doors open up in other fields, from being a contract specialist, a construction specialist for Comcast, you know what I'm saying, dealing with fiber, now to doing what I'm doing with Centerpoint. But in each situation that someone tried to harm me and do for evil, the Lord turned it out for good. But the consistent thing throughout all of those things is serving the Lord. The Lord never promised you that you weren't going to go through hard times. What he promised you is that you wouldn't die. So as long as you have your life, guess what? The Lord has kept his promise to you. As long as you didn't eat today, guess what? The Lord has kept his promise to you. It don't matter if it's Mato meal, if it's a PBJ, hamburger helper. I mean, I know you used to steak 48, but I guarantee you go 2 days without eating, that hamburger helper gonna look like a filet mignon. I promise you. And I'm talking about the nasty one, the stroganoff flavor. Nobody likes stroganoff. You know what I'm saying? I don't even think Russians like stroganoff. You know what I'm saying? Everybody hated that hamburger helper. The stroganoff, it was disgusting. But if you was hungry enough, guess what? You gonna eat it. Because it's something hot, it's something savory, and you didn't die today. So in a famine, you got to understand you're going to go through seasons. But the only way that you're going to know how to go through hell, you have to walk through it before. And the only way to survive hell is that you can't be in the council of sinners. You know what I'm saying? You can't sit in the seat of the scornful. And you can't stand in the way of sinners. And you have to meditate in the law of the Lord, and he has to be your delight day and night. That was the only thing that kept Joseph going. Go ahead, Sapar. Give him the mic so he can hear his question online.
So, like, if I may, so when you say meditate day and night, is it just reading in general, or just studying the laws?
So, meditation, it's a trifold situation, right? The thing that should be on the forefront of your mind at all times is service to God. Number one, right? The way that you learn how to serve is reading. You understand? Matter of fact, give me Deuteronomy 28:1. You understand? This is going to show you how to meditate. Deuteronomy 28:1. Whoever got to read it first.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently.
If you shall do what?
If thou shalt hearken diligently.
So the first thing to do to learn how to meditate, you have to learn to listen diligently. You understand? The Lord gave you 2 ears, not for decoration. You understand? And 1 mouth for a reason. You should listen twice more than you speak. It'll stop you from being a fool a lot of the time. If you hold your peace and you listen to what's actually being said, not listen to how what's being said makes you feel, but you actually proactively listen to what's being said, it'll save you from a lot of foolishness and embarrassment. So the first thing that you have to do, you have to listen diligently in order to meditate. Keep reading.
Unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe.
To do what?
To observe.
So after listening diligently, you have to observe how things should be done. You can't do something if you've never seen an example how to do it. I can't say, hey, Sapar, I need you to build me a house. And you've never laid a foundation. You've never piped plumbing. You've never done framing. You've never done any type of fenestration. You know what I'm saying? You don't know the first thing about roofing. Before you even do that, you don't know anything about how to support, you know what I'm saying, the main support. You know what I'm saying? You don't know anything about laminated beams, you know what I'm saying, load-bearing walls, you know what I'm saying? I'm just sending you out there, make me a house apart. You know what I'm saying? You can hear how to do it. You know, you can listen to seminars and all of this stuff on how to build a house, but until you actually see an example of it done, you'll never be able to do it correctly. Keep reading.
And to do.
And to what?
And to do.
And then you're capable of doing. So in order to meditate, you have to do the first two things. You have to listen diligently. You have to observe. That is how you meditate. You understand? Like even people that, you know, do the you know the you know what I'm saying? Like that's essentially what they're trying to do. You understand? They're trying to listen diligently for something. So that's the little mantras that they're doing. You understand? To see if they can see something. You know, you're like, ooh, I see little orbs of light in my head. You know what I'm saying? Is that God? Is God inside of me? You understand? But that's not what true meditation gives clarification and understanding. And the only way that you're going to get that is by listening diligently and observing the right way to do something. That should be at the forefront of your mind at all times. So how can you listen diligently? Constantly coming to class, of course, right? And in this day and age, you have the internet. You can listen to classes, Black Watch, Cross the Line, all the way since YouTube has been invented. That's what I did when I first came into the truth. I would listen to class all day. When I'm driving around at work, listening to class. When I came home, listening to class. You know what I'm saying? And I'm writing down all these precepts from classes. You understand? You know, my favorite class to watch back in the day when I first came in the truth was Captain Mashak's Wednesday law class. You understand? And then camp speakings. Camp speakings would teach me how to deal practically with everyday people. Because if you don't know how to talk to your brother, how can you heal him? How can you encourage him? You understand? That's why you have to listen diligently. Don't just listen to cut. Because a person that come to you and talk to you, well, John 3:16, see, God so loved the world, brother, but that's not the reason why he's coming to you. He's coming to you because that brother might have a white wife and he think that he can't be saved because he has a white wife. Or that sister has a white husband. Or whatever race. You have to listen diligently. See, when people come to me and ask me biblical questions, after they give me the scripture, the first question I ask them, why are you asking that question? How does that question pertain to the scripture? What about this makes you ask that question? You have to get to the root of the matter and you have to listen. That's the only way that you can battle in the spirit. You have to listen to discern the spirit behind the question. And then once you find that out, you deal with that. That's just like if you're married and your woman blow up over you over the dishes not being washed. I guarantee you it's not about the dishes. I promise you it's not about the dishes. It's something else that you've been neglecting and overlooking. And the dishes was just a thing to set it off. And you got to have the wisdom. Dang, I just left the plate here for a second. Why are you blowing up like that? You have to discern it's not about the dish. It's something else that has happened. Something else that you've overlooked. Something else that you've neglected. And then when you think and you see that, you deal with that. Don't even worry about the dishes, because once you deal with that, the dishes is not even gonna matter. You about to have a 3-hour conversation with your wife about something that has nothing to do with the dishes, and by the time that conversation is over, ain't nobody gonna be worried about them dishes. And once that person's been able to be heard and they feel vindicated, 9 times out of 10, don't worry about it. I got it. But you have to be able to listen diligently and observe. Right now, and what's going on in America, you should definitely be listening diligently to what's going on and observing. And what it says in Psalms 1, in the word of God day and night, because that's the only way you're going to be able to discern the times. That's the only way you're going to be able to survive this famine. 2 stories that everyone should be reading right now that should be at the forefront of your mind: the story of Joseph and the story of Job, because everybody's about to go through that in the world. Not just Israel, in the world. It's about to happen to everybody. It's coming. And then it's going to be, and Noah, the story of Noah. Because when the Pharisees came to Christ and they asked him, how will we know when the kingdom is come? He said, he's going to give you they were asking for a sign. He said, you're going to get the same sign as the time of Noah. From the word. Prophets are going to tell you it's going to rain. How did Pharaoh know that it was going to be a famine? Same thing like the time of Noah. Someone told him. Joseph told him, just like Noah told everyone that water was going to fall from the sky, and it had never happened before. There have been famines in Egypt previous to this, but there had never been a famine for 7 years. Like a famine is like a dry spell, like a summer, like a season. Those are the type of famines that they had, right? But 7 years, it's just like if you ever watched Game of Thrones, it's just like when they said winter's coming. You know what I'm saying? When they have winter for years. You understand? With the White Walkers. You feel me? That's what it's going to be like. We are going to be living the book of Eli. That's what the world is going to be like. And that town that Denzel walked in, that was just a whole powder keg of debauchery and evilness, is because that man had the resources. And that city that was under him was a reflection of him. So understand this. If you're an officer of 50, the 50 people that's going to be up under you, they're going to be a reflection of your leadership. If you're an officer of 500, the 500 people that are under you, they will be a reflection of your leadership. To 5,000, from 1,000 to 5,000, to a captain of 10,000, captain of 13,000, to a general. The people that are under you will be a reflection of your leadership. That's why you got to get the lessons now as a student. That's why you have to get the lessons now as a trooper, as a 50, as a 500. It's just like when someone gets $1 million all of a sudden. Whatever you was doing on a small scale when you was broke, guess what? If you had a little weed habit, guess what's gonna happen when you get a lot of money? Boy, you smoking big dope every day. Every day. If you had a little issue with women, guess what? You're gonna have a big issue with women. You're gonna be a whoremonger. Your commodity and currency is going to be whores. You're gonna have a whore every single day, and guess what's gonna happen? You're gonna die from a whore. You're gonna get an STD. You're gonna get You're gonna get AIDS. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna get something. What's the other? You're gonna get the blue waffle. Oh, just look it up. It's a form of herpes. Look it up in your phone. Yeah, look it up. Oh yeah. Look, as soon as she look it up, she could be like, "Oh my God." Yeah, that's a strand of herpes. It's called a blue waffle. Look it up, and it's not curable. Yeah, gonna be around here looking crazy. But the only defense against all of this is this. That was Joseph's only defense, was this. All right, let's go to Genesis 47 and 22.
This is the book of Genesis, chapter 47, verse 22.
Mm-hmm.
Only the land of the priests bought he not, for the priests had a portion assigned them of Pharaoh, and did eat their portion, which Pharaoh gave them, wherefore they sold not their lands.
You know what I'm saying? So this is after everybody sold their bodies and their land. You know what I'm saying? The only people that were not allowed to trade their land, you know what I'm saying, or put themselves in slavery were the priests of Pharaoh. You know what I'm saying? Because their lot was given to them by Pharaoh. All right, keep reading. Verse 23.
Then Joseph said unto the people.
Oh, and Yahweh, hold Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 5 for me. Go ahead, keep reading.
Behold, I have bought you this day and your land for Pharaoh. Lo, here is seed for you, and you shall sow the land.
And you shall do what?
And you shall sow the land.
Now, mind you, the famine was so bad, you understand? Like, so it's a what? All right, let me ask you a question. What are some factors that cause a famine? Does anybody know? Go ahead, Sapar. What you got? What? Okay, Sapar said lack of rain. What else? Say it one more time.
Loss of your trade line.
So an embargo. Okay. Give me another one. What else can cause a famine? Well, that's the same thing. War. I mean, a trade embargo. That's 9 times out of 10. That's because of war. That's why America was able to be the world power that it is, because they had a stronghold on the oil market. You know what I'm saying? In order to get oil, you understand, it'll tell another country that they have trade with, you can't sell to this country, and they'll freeze another country out of their resources. And when they starving, they'll send diplomats in there, and they'll just take the land from the people, and they'll be under military occupation. That's why we have 800 bases worldwide, and no other nation has any base on American soil. Go ahead.
So, sir, like, if this was Star Wars, America's the Empire.
No.
No.
I wouldn't say America is the empire. I would say the empire is the Most High and his angels, and the America is the rebels, because they're trying to rebel against the empire. Go ahead, keep reading. So we had trade embargo, and he said lack of rain. There's one more that can cause as well. One more. No, not disease. Pests. Right. So no, not pestilence. Pestilence is disease. Talking about like pests, like a pest, like locusts. You know what I'm saying? Vermin. You know what I'm saying? The Lord could like, say for instance, like if you were a corn farmer, the Lord can send a plague of squirrels to go through your cornfields. Squirrels love corn. Love it. Ask General Muhammad. They've been tearing his corn crop up. Come through there like a cartoon. You know what I'm saying? So in this case, if he was able to give them seed, you understand, you know that the famine was not caused due to lack of rain. You understand? It was due to lack of resources in the land. Okay? So, and the crazy part is they went through all of their crops because all of the money was gone. Normally, when you have a farm, your crops you sell for money. When you don't have no money, you eating up all of your crops so you don't die. So they done ate up all of their crops, all of their money gone, and then they traded everything that they had, you understand, so that they wouldn't die. Now the land that they was working to sell, to have money for their family and to feed their family, now they're working their own lands for Pharaoh now. Keep reading.
Verse 24. And it shall pass.
Look. Hey, a sister, Megan Dreyer, she commented in the chat. Oh, that's Naima. You know what I'm saying? She said, do not look up blue waffle. I'm trying to tell you, it's life altering seeing what that looks like, brother. It is crazy. You know what I'm saying? It is crazy looking. You understand? Keep reading.
And it shall come to pass in the increase that ye shall give the 5th part unto Pharaoh, and 4 parts shall be your own.
You know what I'm saying? And look, what the scripture said, it says when the righteous are in rulership, what will happen? Don't anybody know that scripture? Say what is it?
The world will rejoice.
What is it?
The world will rejoice.
Give that brother a hand. You know what I'm saying? Joseph isn't a tyrannical ruler. You understand? He said, look, I'm going to give you seed, and I'm going to give you your... Now, Pharaoh owns your land. You know what I'm saying? You're just going to be a sharecropper on the land, okay? And you're going to work the land. I'm going to give you seed to work on the land. And look, 1/5 of what you grow belongs to Pharaoh. The rest is yours. You can have the rest. But 1/5 of it belongs to Pharaoh. You understand? So what was it? 247,688,000 acres of land. Let me see. What's 1/5 of that? What's 1/5 of that? Let's see. Let me go to my calculator. 247,688. 247,688,000 times 0.05. So 12,384 acres. 12,384,400 acres of whatever crop within the land of Egypt, and that belongs to Pharaoh. Pharaoh eating forever. You understand? You can be wealthy off of a percentage. You don't believe me? Ask lawyers. You know what I'm saying? Ask agents. You understand? That's why they're so wealthy. They're middlemen. They take percentages. You understand? They have lifetime contracts that they get percentages off of royalties forever, ever. You understand? That's why it's so important to understand contract and contract law. That's a whole other conversation. All right, keep reading.
For seed of the field, and for your food, and for them of your households, and for food for your little ones. Verse 25. And they said, Thou hast saved our lives.
Say that one more time.
Thou hast saved our lives. Let us find grace in the sight of my Lord, and we will be Pharaoh's servants.
Brother, read 26, and then I want you to read what you holding for me in Deuteronomy, Yakabad.
Verse 26. And Joseph made it a law over the land of Egypt unto this day, that Pharaoh should have the 5th part, except the land of the priests only, which became not Pharaoh's.
Now, this is how you know that America is spiritual Egypt. You understand? If you own a house, like it's paid off, and you own land, what you got to pay at the beginning of the year? Taxes. That's where that comes from. That's why it says, till this day. You know what I'm saying? We brought it out 2 classes ago. You understand? America ain't been in a positive leisure since 1835. Slavery was abolished in 1865. So as a black, Hispanic, a Native American, you ain't never been free in America, ever. You've been a slave since the inception of this nation. For 129 years, you've been voting for slavery. It don't matter if it's Democrat or Republican, you've been voting for slavery. You've been voting for a new slave master because he has been driving up the national debt, you understand, and then causing more inflation. The more, like, somebody look up the national debt right now. What is the national debt? Somebody look up the national debt for the United States of America. What is the national debt right now? Google it. What is the national debt? How much is it? $35 trillion. $35 trillion. And a majority of that is the military-industrial complex. They sell you as a commodity to other nations that they borrow from. That's why everything that you do, your social security number is attached to it. Because they're leveraging your workforce, slavery, on the land to get what they need and what they want, with no intent of ever paying it back. Because every 7 years, your debt is supposed to be forgiven. But they can't let that happen now because we're not self-insulated anymore. They're selling your debt to other nations. That's why China owns majority of the monuments in Washington, D.C. It's crazy. The Lincoln Memorial is owned by China. Bet you didn't know that. We pulled up that the White House is for sale. The White House is on Realtor.com. It is for sale. The House of Congress is for sale. It's on Realtor.com. Look it up. We did in class. The nation is for sale. That's why we are $35 trillion in debt. And you keep voting for the same plantation owners, same slave masters. That's why it says in this book, you will give a fifth part till this day. We have been in slavery that long. They're literally running the same playbook. Read what I asked for.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4, verse 5. Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments.
Say that one more time.
I have taught you statutes and judgments.
You understand? The Lord has given you this so you won't be a fool and repeat history. The things that were written aforetime are for our learning and for our understanding. If you do not know your history, you are doomed to repeat it. Now, the good news is if you know the story of our ancestors, every time that we've been a stranger in a foreign land, what happens? Somebody blow my mind. Every time that we are occupying as a stranger in a foreign land, what happens? Sapar. Give him the mic. I think he about to say the right answer. Sound like he about to say the right answer.
Like I said, we usually take over the land.
No, not necessarily. Not in all cases. No, but you close. What normally happens when we occupy or we sojourn or we're in captivity in a strange land? What particularly precedes afterwards? Swati.
An increase.
What type of increase? You're right.
Resource.
Get that brother a hand. We 9 times out of 10, we come out exceedingly wealthy. You understand? It happened with Abraham and Abimelech, Abraham and Pharaoh. It happened with Isaac and Abimelech. It happened when Jacob went and stayed with his uncle Laban. You understand? And it's happening now with Joseph being in Egypt. Every time we go into, we either sojourn or we become captive or we're a stranger in a foreign land, we grow as a population and we increase in resources, in wealth. So one thing that you should be praying for is the fall of America, because in the fall of America, you understand, it is the rise of your nation. But majority people are afraid of that because it's going to actually require you to do some work. You can't just sit at home on your PlayStation, on Netflix. It's going to actually require you to have a trade and do something. You're going to have to actually build something. You're going to actually have to supply something. You're going to actually have to get up off of your behind. Most people are afraid of greatness because in order to be great, it requires sacrifice and obedience and discipline. The 3 things that no one likes to do. Nobody likes to do the same thing over and 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 over. But guess what happens when you do that? You become a master at something. And when you become a master at something, guess what? People seek you out. Because your knowledge is invaluable. And when your knowledge is invaluable, guess what? They pay you for what you know. There's a old proverb. A dude that owned a airline. You understand? He had a 747 jet. You understand? And it was grounded. And he got 7 mechanics to come, and none of them could fix the plane. You understand? These were well sought after mechanics. And then one mechanic was like, look, man, I know this old guy. You understand? He's been working on planes since Pan Am. And everybody knows anything about Pan Am, that's one of the original airlines. You understand? That started in America. It's one of the great major airlines that started. I think it was taken over by either American or Delta, or I think it split into 3 different airlines. One of those, right? So the owner of the airline calls the old guy, and he comes. He takes a look at the plane. They try and crank it. He hears it, and he takes this huge wrench. You understand? I mean, it's huge, and he whacks the turbine and the engine in one spot. And he said, "Now try and crank it up." Cranks right up. He writes a bill to the dude for $150,000. Took him 5 minutes to do that. And the dude's like, "I'm not paying you $150,000 for you doing this. Like, you're not paying me for $150,000 for whacking a turbine. You're paying me $150,000 for knowing the right spot to hit the turbine to get it to work." When you have this book, that's the type of wisdom that you have. Keep reading.
Even as the Lord my God commanded that ye should do so in the land whether ye go to possess it.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 6. Keep therefore and do them.
Do what?
Keep therefore and do them.
Mm-hmm.
For this is your wisdom.
Is what?
Is your wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
And your understanding in the sight of the nations.
This is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations. That's why one of the curses is that we'll be an enigma and a sign until they're just gonna be baffled. It's like, how are these people such a great people? Like who was I watching? Godfrey, right? Godfrey the comedian, you know, he a Hamite, right? And he was on Club Shay Shay, and he regaled him with a story. One of his homeboys, you know, he a drug dealer. You know what I'm saying? He was a well-renowned drug dealer and a powerful one. And he, you know, would travel over to Asia, you know, to do his deal with the mafia. You know what I'm saying? With the Asian mafia and stuff like that, whatever. And he said when he went over there, and he's not a person that scares easily. But he said the thing that scared him when he went over there is that they were so organized. You understand? Like, you know, they were clean cut. Every room that they went in, there was someone that opened the door to show him where to go. You understand? Wait here. Come now. You understand? He's waiting for you here. Sit here. And then while they're talking to someone standing there, that scared him. And then the boss of the mob told him, you know, the one thing about you black people is you have all of this power. Like the whole world, you know what I'm saying, is in love with your culture. You know what I'm saying? Everybody follows the beat and the tone of what black people do. You understand? But you'll never be in control because you're not organized. This book is our wisdom for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans to get on code and be organized. I will regale you with another story. You understand? Tyrese just recently had an interview. You understand? And he said this, and I don't necessarily disagree with him. You understand? Like, everybody want to hate the so-called Jewish man. Why? You understand? He said the reason why you're hating them is because they're organized. You understand? Instead of watching TV all the time, once a week, every week, they sit down and they plan on how they can get and acquire things together. Same thing in the Asian community. they sit down and they plan things and they organize things how to acquire together. Same thing when the Africans come over here, when the Arabs come over here. They sit down and they plan and they organize how to acquire things together. The reason why blacks, Hispanics, and Native and our Hispanic brethren, they're a little bit further on code than we are. From a family structure and working together. But he said the reason why we won't rise to that level is because we're not on code. When you see your brother, you don't see your brother, you see your opposition. You see someone that you're in competition with. You understand? Instead of seeing someone, okay, I do this, and you do the same thing that I do. You understand? You doing about 10 units. I'm doing about 10 units. But if we come together, we can do 20 units. And split the profits down and cut down our profit and cut down our cost margin because we're not competing with one another. So our overall overhead cost is going to be lower because I'm not having to front 100% of the cost and you're not having to front 100% of the cost. I'm doing 50, you doing 50. So the profit margin for both of us on the back end will be higher because we're sharing resources now. Instead of me competing with my brother, competing with my sister. Instead of me, oh, she got this on, or he got this on, or they went on this trip, you know what I'm saying? Or he went on this trip. Why don't we go on a trip together? Most people that plan these elaborate vacations, guess what they do? They save all year for it. They plan. You can do anything that you want to do in life if you plan. This is the plan. It was written out a long time ago. You done tried everything else, but this plan. Sapar, you had your hand up. Salaki.
Salaki, so it was real heavy that you see how other groups are on the code. So with us, what is, like, in your opinion, is the biggest factor in stopping us from having that type of a mindset or outlook on our life?
I'm glad you asked that question, brother. Give me somebody give me Matthew 22 and 38, and you're gonna read the 39. Let me go there with you. Matthew 22. Yeah, Matthew 22. Start at 36.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 22, verse 36.
Mm-hmm.
Master, which is the great commandment in the law?
Mm-hmm.
37. Yahushua said unto them, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind.
Now, the first and foremost, the precept to this in the Old Testament, you understand, is in Ecclesiastes. I think it's Ecclesiastes 12 and whatever the last verse is. You understand, where it says the whole duty of man is to fear. Right, you know what I'm saying, is to fear God and keep the commandments. Right. The first problem is blacks and Hispanics and Native Americans, we don't have any fear of God. You don't have reverence for God. We don't love God. Because if we did, we wouldn't do the things that we do. Keep reading.
verse 38. This is the first and great commandment. Verse 39.
It's the most important one. This is to answer your question, Sapar.
And the second is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself.
You don't love your brother. The reason why blacks, Hispanics, and Native American, the reason why we not on code is because we don't love each other. You hate your brother. You want to know how? You understand? When your brother, when your brother walk by your car, you lock your doors. You understand? When you see your brother in the gas station, instead of saying good morning, you mean mugger. You line him up like he your opposition. Same thing with your sister. You don't love your brother as yourself because you wouldn't want nobody to have prejudice immediately against you. You are of your father, the devil, because that is how your oppressor sees your brother. You have the same sight, vision of your people as your oppressor does. That's why we're not on code. You're more likely to hurt your brother than to feed your brother, than to clothe your brother, than to give your brother nourishment or shelter. We're selfish and we're cowards because it takes strength to do that. Knowing that the person that you're helping might not even appreciate it, but you're not doing it for that. You ever notice you've never seen a homeless Asian person in America? You ever notice you've never seen a homeless Arab in America? You ever notice that? Have you ever seen a homeless Japanese person in America? You ever seen that before? You want to know, have you ever seen a homeless Vietnamese person in America? Have you ever seen a homeless East Indian in America? Think about that. I want you to seriously think about that. You want to know why? Because they're on code. They'll have that person working in a nail salon. They'll have that person working at a liquor store. They'll have that person working at a beauty supply. They'll have that person working at a gas station, even if it's sweeping up and cleaning. They may have that in their country, but they'll never let a foreigner see their people in that life because they're on code. They'll house a family from their nation until that family gets on their feet and able to get a house of their own. You want to know why? Because they're on code. You'll never do that. We'll never do that because we hate our brother. We'll hate our sister. You rather your people be homeless on the street than to help them get cleaned up and get on their feet. Because you don't love your brother or your sister as yourself. That's why I'm telling you, this is our code. This is our culture. He just read it in Deuteronomy 4, Deuteronomy, what I said? Yeah. That this is your wisdom in the sight of the other nations. Right? Finish the rest of that. Read verse 40.
On these two commandments hang all the law and prophets.
You understand? On those two things hang all the law, statutes, and commandments. If you can keep that in your mind, forefront of your mind all day, at all times, we'll be perfect as a people. Go ahead, Sabar. Give him the mic.
So in Matthew, like you said, the verse you just read, the 40th verse, just having that on your mind encompasses all 613. Like that covers everything, even if you're not familiar with it.
For sure. So and this is going to sound it's not it's scripture, right? But it's going to sound kind of Christian. You understand? The things that you are ignorant to is why you have grace. You know what I'm saying? But there's no justification in ignorance of the law. You understand? You are supposed to educate yourself. That's the observation that we talked about, right? You're supposed to hearken diligently and observe before you're able to do, right? Now, the things that you are ignorant to, that's why you have grace. Because previously, if we were in old times, even if you found out what you were doing was wrong, you tried to correct, and you came to me, you was like, look, I didn't know it wasn't okay to smoke weed, but I stopped. You know what I'm saying? I'd be like, so, but you smoked weed before, right? And you'd be like, Con. And then I'll tell someone to hold you in charge, and then I'll stone you and kill you. The grace that Christ gave us is so that we can learn from our mistakes. You understand? But once you learn and you do it again, there's no more remission for your sins. That's why I said there's no justification in ignorance of the law. You understand? That is a today's phrase that comes from the Bible. You understand? There's no more remissions of sins once you know better. That's biblical. It comes from the Bible. You understand? Because sin is transgression of the law. Once you know better, you have to do better. There's no, well, I know at that point it's punishment, judgment. You understand? When you're knowing and you're doing, at that point everything is just test. But when you know better and you go against, like in your right mind, then you'll be judged. The Lord will deal with you. You understand? You won't. I mean, the Lord will tax you. Trust me. Whether it be your pocket, you know, somehow, some way, you get a random bill and for you look at your account. At one point, you was positive 300. You look in your account, you're negative 7 now. Or you driving down the street and you flatten 2 tires. You understand? What somebody, I don't know who it was that told me, but you wake up one day and you come outside and 3 of your tires on flat. I found out your 3 tires is on flat instead of 4, the insurance don't cover it. You know what I'm saying? So if you know, like I know, like my tires is like almost $300 a pop. That's a rack that you wouldn't plan on spending. And what happens if you don't got it? There's many ways that the Lord, you know, randomly get into an accident, total your car. You understand? You get fired. These are things that the Lord does to judge you. The Lord uses other things as a whooping stick to chastise you. There will be retribution for your actions. You will reap what you sow, positively or negatively. There's always an opposite and equal reaction for your action in all things. So you have to choose. All right. Let's finish out this chapter so we can done with 47. And we start at 48 next week. We at verse 27. And while he's reading this, Yakabad, hold Deuteronomy 28 and 8 for me.
Verse 27. And Israel dwelt in the land of Egypt, in the country of Goshen, and they had possessions therein, and grew and multiplied exceedingly.
Now, why? Now, can somebody tell me why they grew and multiplied exceedingly in their possessions? based off of everything that was acquired. I'm kind of giving it away. How did they become like exceedingly wealthy in their possessions? Does anybody know? All right. What were the 5 things that were acquired by Pharaoh and the family? What was the first one? All the money. What was the second thing? It was what? All right. What was the third thing? Land. What was the fourth thing? Huh? No. Slaves. Right? And then what was the 5th thing that he got because he acquired all the land and all the people? It's a thing that they do till this day. Taxes. All right. Now, of these 5 things, when Joseph's family came, what did he tell them to tell Pharaoh what their possession, what their profession was? They were what? They were cowboys. And what did Pharaoh own all of the land? It was the second thing. He owned all the cattle in all the land. And whatever they grew, you understand, or bought, a 5th of that, whether it was livestock, whether it was crops, it came to Pharaoh. And who was over all of Pharaoh's livestock, including the livestock that they owned? The Israelites. So that's how they grew exceedingly wealthy. In every condition that we are put in, all we have to do is what the Lord says. And not only will we not die, we will grow in exceedingly wealth. But you got to be willing to do the boring thing. You know, like for me, look, that Buddha ain't I be making this labor love, brother. I'm trying to tell you, it's labor. It is labor. You understand? It's not exciting as plating. You know what I'm saying? Like when I'm doing my executive chef thing. But you do that consistently every day. You constantly getting orders every day. Guess what? You're able to feed your family every day. Me handling cow and bull intestine and stuffing it with lamb, rice, and all types of herbs and spice. And it tastes so nice. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? I'm just trying to tell you. If you become a master of making sausage, you can be wealthy. Ask Earl Campbell. You know what I'm saying? Earl Campbell sausages is sold nationwide in every Walmart. You know, I don't know what the grocery stores in the other cities are called. Well, I know in the South, Piggly Wiggly. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? Come on, you feel me? All these, you understand? Like, give me another one. Food Line, Foodorama, H-E-B, Ocean. They don't got Oceans no more. You know what I'm saying? Oceans was Walmart Supercenter before Walmart Supercenter. They sold everything in there. Real talk. Real talk. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no more Kmart either. Blue Light Special. See, kids, they don't even know about that Blue Light Special. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying all that. If you are a master at one thing, you can be exceedingly wealthy. We ran away from the one thing that we were naturally good at as a people: livestock and cattle. And we laugh at our cousins in the country that's out there, you know, shaving down, you know what I'm saying, hooves, putting horseshoes on. You can make a lot of money doing horseshoes for horses. A lot of money. You can make a lot of money doing stall management because nobody wants to shovel out horse crap and put in new hay. You can make a lot of money baling hay, selling bales of hay. And you don't even have to own the land to make the hay. You can go to someone that owns 40 acres that don't want to tend to it, and they pay you to not only tend to it, bale it, and you just give them a percentage of what you sell. What if Pharaoh said, look, just give me a fifth of what you make off of your land. You can keep the rest. If I got 7 people giving me a fifth, what do I care about all that land? I don't got to worry about tending it, and I can just make money on the back end. I'm good. You can't be afraid to be a master of something, and it's going to be boring doing the same thing over and over every day. Like the people that you praise, like all the athletes, like Steph Curry, he shot 100 3-pointers a day. For him hit that half court, all them split acts. He did something very boring. You know how boring it is to shoot 100 3-point jump shots a day? It's to the point to where it's muscle memory now. He can shoot the shot and walk away and head to the other side of the court because he know he's gonna hit that shot. You want to know why? Because he did it. He did it 700 times last week. That's how dedicated you got to be to serving the Lord. You got to be willing to do the same thing every day. Got to be perfect at it. How can you know in sports you got to be perfect? In academics, you got to be perfect to be successful. You understand? In food, to be a Gordon Ramsay, you got to be perfect. But when it comes to the Lord, you got grace. I don't got to be perfect to be successful. You're lying to yourself. Keep reading.
Verse 28, and Jacob lived in the land of Egypt 17 years. Mm-hmm. So the whole age of Jacob was 147 years. Verse 29, and the time drew nigh that Israel must die. And he called his son Joseph and said unto him, if now I have found grace in thy sight, put, I pray thee, thy hand under my thigh, and deal kindly and truly with me. Bury me not, I pray thee, in Egypt. Mm-hmm. Verse 30, but I will lie with my fathers, and thou shalt carry me out of Egypt, and bury me in their burying place. Mm-hmm. And he said, I will do as thou hast said. Verse 31, and he said, swear unto me, and he swore unto him. And Israel bowed himself upon the bed's head.
All right. Now read what I asked for, Yakabad, in Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy 28 and 8. You're gonna read the 10.
Okay. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 8. Mm-hmm. The Lord shall command the blessings upon thee in thy storehouse, mm-hmm. and in all that thou settest thine hand unto.
So this is why Israel grew in possessions and grew to become, and it multiplied exceedingly to become a mighty nation. Because everything that we put our hands to, the Lord bless. Because as in the question that Sapar asked, you know, how do we meditate? It's because we hearken diligently. You understand? We observed, and then we did. Keep reading.
And he shall bless thee in the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee.
You understand? So the Lord gave them the land of Goshen. You understand? They left the land that the Lord had previously gave them. They sojourned in Egypt as strangers and then was given another land. that they did not have to plow, you know what I'm saying, or sow, but they reaped it. You understand? If you know anything about a lot of the parables dealing with either the Most High or Christ, it's saying that the Lord reaps where he does not sow. You understand? When you're following the Lord, you may get fired from another job, but that it's just another opportunity waiting for you. You know, we did a class, and I was talking with YAHANNA. You understand? I asked him a question, about how many jobs he didn't have. You know what I'm saying? And he told me, he did security. What job you told me you did before you did security?
I did the fortune cookie, John. Then I did security. Then I did the buses.
Right.
I did security.
Right. So in each situation that he was either let go or he quit that job, you understand? There was another opportunity that was waiting for him, which was a company that he did not build. Just because you feel that you are losing an opportunity, that's not the end of the world. You know what I'm saying? Just because you don't get what you want, that might not necessarily be what you need. Because you got to understand, this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. You're just here for a stop to pick up something along the way that you're going to need down the line. It's just a stop on the bus. Some of them you might have to get off to get a changeover, to get another bus to get to go where you need to go. That's what you got to understand about this walk. You're not going to be on the same bus all the time. Sometimes you got to get off at a stop and you got to wait. That waiting is that time that nobody likes, when you're unemployed, or when you get into an accident, your car gets totaled, or your mama died, God forbid, your father died, your baby mama leave you, put you on child support, or your man leave you, you know what I'm saying? It's those void times that you're rocky, but it's to set you up for the next thing that's coming. And it's to build character. You can't advise someone down the line if you ain't never been through something. If you didn't caught the number 2 bus before, and somebody ain't never rode the bus and they trying to get somewhere, oh brother, I know how to get there. You got to take the number 2. See, you've been sitting here thinking you got to take the 28. Nah, the number 2 gonna get you there 30 minutes faster. The only reason why you know that is because you didn't took that bus before, and it run on time. You might have to wait for a little bit, you understand? And he's gonna seem like he gonna be late, but because that bus is one of those buses don't hit a lot of stops to hit like direct points, he gonna get there right on time. But you got to be patient and wait. You can't just get on the bus because the bus is coming. That might not be the bus that's going to take you to where you want to go. It might drop you off on a bad part of town that you shouldn't be at. But the only way that you're going to know is if you got the bus guide. That you got all the routes. And that's what the law, statutes, and commandments is. It gives you all the routes. It tells you the bad routes and the good routes. Keep reading. What verse you at? All right, keep reading. You're gonna read the 10.
Verse 9. The Lord shall establish thee an holy people unto himself.
And what does holy mean?
Set apart, sir.
Right. You understand what he's doing for you, he's not gonna do for nobody else. The reason why people are able to get away with what they get away with, because they're not his kids. He don't care about what they do. They can smoke all the weed, be with all the whores, do the Rod Smith coalition, all of that. They can do all of that and get away with it. Nothing happened to them. You know what I'm saying? They can get rich in debauchery and wickedness. But you can't do that. Keep reading.
As he hath sworn unto thee, if thou shalt keep the commandments.
If you shall what?
Keep the commandments
Mm-hmm.
of the Lord thy God,
Mm-hmm.
and walk in his ways. Verse 10, and all people of the earth shall see that thou art called by the name of the Lord, and they shall be afraid of thee.
Yeah. Like, bro, like all the other nations don't act aggressive towards you for no reason. You know that, right? The reason why they treat us the way they treat us is because they're actually afraid of us. And they know that they need us. All of their businesses are set up in our community. And they know if these people ever wake up and realize that they really don't need us, we're in trouble. That's why they treat you the way they treat you, because they don't understand that how can they see that you're great and what your potential is and you don't. And they're even more afraid because they know how they treated you, and they feel like if you ever realize who you are, and what your potential is, you'll do way worse than them than what they did to you. But the difference between us and them is just like Joseph. What somebody read Genesis 47 and 25. What did the people, what did the foreigners say to Joseph when he became in rulership? And remember, he was treated horribly when he was kidnapped. He was treated horribly when he was a slave. You understand? And he was treated horribly because he was falsely accused and thrown in prison by all of these foreigners from all these other nations. But because of what he did and how he acted, because he could have just like, well, y'all don't got nothing else to give me, y'all just gonna die. But because he said, I'm gonna give y'all seed and I'm gonna give y'all land to work, y'all just give me a fifth part of what y'all get in harvest and y'all keep the rest. Let's find out what the stranger said. This is how we gonna rule the rulership. Read.
This is the book of Genesis, chapter 47, verse 25.
This is what the foreigners are going to say about us.
And they said, thou hast saved our lives.
Say that again.
Thou hast saved our lives.
Because when America was in rulership, they terrorized the world. Their currencies were lies and deception. They traded in secrets. You understand? But when we become in rulership, they're going to say what? Read it again.
Thou hast saved our lives.
Keep reading.
Let us find grace in the sight of my Lord.
Mm-hmm.
And we will be Pharaoh's servant.
But instead of them saying Pharaoh, they're going to say we will be Christ's servant. That's the type of ambassador that you have to be for the Lord. And when the righteous are in rulership, the world will rejoice. Because they're going to realize that you all saved our lives. Because you are justified in killing us. But we know if we kill all of y'all, who will work the fields? Who will do waste management? Who will do the postal service? Who's going to work the restaurants? Who's going to be the delivery driver for Uber Eats? We know that we will need workers in the kingdom. We are gracious lords. We are gracious princes and princesses. We are not like our oppressors, but we will take captives of those who once oppressed us, and we will have them serve us like we once served them. But we will not render evil unto evil, because when our Father comes and he sends our King, he'll do enough. Because what you built in 500 years is going to take him an hour to destroy. And what we give you is going to save your life. Because you're going to long for death because it's going to be such a great famine in the world that when you find a place that's able to provide for you, you will willingly serve. And you will be grateful for your portion and for your life. All right. And with that, we're going to say Imagine, which means to stand. Let's see if we have any questions. There's no questions online. All right, no sweat. Sar, which means to turn and face the east. We're going to do the Lord's Prayer first in Hebrew, then in English. Repeat after me. Abanawa, Shabbat Shabaya, Kodash, Hayah, Shemka, Yahweh, Malakwaka, Taba'ah, Ratazayaka, Hayah, Aisha, Barataza, Kawa, Hayah, Bashemaya, Nathan Lacham, Call, Yawam, Wasalak now, Kabawap now, Kasalak now, Kabawap now, Wala'ah, Tabi'ai now, Manasaya 1, Abal, Hawashai now, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwa, Wahala, Wahata Para, La'awalamia, Aman. In the English, our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Yahweh, thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it. Sar, turn and face in front. We're going to give a courtesy salute to the brothers and to the sisters. Individual, Bani Shabbat, Majid, Ra, Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shah Barakatah, Yadabata, Sar, turn and face the sisters. Individual, Bani Shabbat, Majid, Ra, Yahweh Shema Ba'ashim Yahweh Shah, Yadabata, dismissed.